Hello and welcome to Update 2 and Rage Gaming, I'm Hollow. Who cares? Update 2 is here. And check out these blades. Layered weapons are finally here. They're so cool. And what better weapons to pair with this blue coat of mine? These are the new Violet Mizutsune dual blades. And that's largely what I'm talking about today, of course. This is my overview of my first look at Violet Mizutsune, which, to cut to the chase, is now one of my favorite monsters of all time. And my favorite update monster, that's for sure. Those new mechanics enhance the fight to such a brilliant level. This is exactly what I hoped for when I thought of the potential challenge in Sunbreak. They gave us all this power with the scroll swaps and so on, but now we're finally getting monsters that really require it. This is also an entirely new Mizu for the series, one that uses bubbles for much better combat ability, turning them into these beautiful blue blasting bubbles. Say that 5 times fast if you can. And not just that, there's the horrible explosive goop, as I'm apparently calling it, the explosive beam shots that rip apart the arena, the incredible transformation and the new very scary attacks with that. It's a spectacular fight. Fire and explosions all are great, but mechanically it's challenging, it's engaging, and that's what makes it so fun. So yes, I'm very happy with it. Let's talk about it. You may have noticed that we're indeed returning to Infernal Springs, as hinted at in the update trailers, to fight this Mizu. This is a great location for tough and intense fights, much like the Forlorn arena is, but it's nice for it to come back and be a bit more relevant in, say, a main hunt like this. Naturally, as it was when Sunbreak came out, it has a bit of an update with, say, the new endemics, like the Starburst bugs. But map aside, let's talk about Mizu. Violet Mizutsune comes with 3 forms: normal, enraged, and transformed. Because yeah, apparently every monster needs a transform mode in Sunbreak. Not that I'm complaining, it's a fun mechanic that allows for new moves, and those new moves in this case are amazing. To start with, the normal Violet has attacks you'll be familiar with after, say, Apex and Master Rank versions of Mizu. Things like that spin flip, which is super deadly, the aggressive beams, there's that dreaded charge through you and then back again at super fast speed, and all the other basic improvements. But what we care about is how enhanced this Violet version is. The bubbles, which are shot out in multiples from the mouth or spins, not only explode, which is dangerous as a concept, but they actually track you, flying at you, homing in on your location, which is a very fun and terrifying thing. Instead of coming all at once, they'll come one after the other, leading you to sort of sprint around to evade them. Mizu will often jump in on you at the same time while you're vulnerable running around, which is a clever combination. The laser style beam shots, they're even scarier now. Not only are they accurate as hell or cleaving the arena in large range, but they're now blasting the ground under wherever it's shot. And on top of that, of course, there's more. There's also the slip and slides Mizu likes to do, which now leave behind a blue trail of explosive goop. These blue puddles then explode, making less and less of the area safe. Which also means, surprisingly, what seemed to be a super attack is kind of more of a normal attack. The one in the trailer and the cinematic, that circle of explosive fire around the target. Violet will just do this before it's even transformed. All of that is extra sketchy when we consider the lack of bubble blight, because when we're hit by any of these things, we'll instead be set on fire, of course, but then we'll also have this symbol, a multicolored shield featuring a nice red arrow pointing down. It's a bit of lovely element defense down, making you more vulnerable to its fiery attacks. I feel like I've said so much already about the mechanics of this fight, and yet we still haven't actually spoke of the transformation. When ready, Violet Mizu will transform, activating a familiar animation like, say, an afflicted or maybe a magnum aloe when powering up. It's when this mini explosion occurs around Mizu, powering it up in blue fire, which will now light both the tail and the head in that glowing fire. These points will now thankfully be extra vulnerable to attack, which is very important, because to break Mizu out of this dangerous state, out of this transformation, you need to do enough damage to these blue fire zones. Kind of like Anomaly cores, basically. But what will happen while Violet is powered up? We'll see a lot of enhanced blast attacks and also new attacks as well. The blast attacks will be dealing bigger damage and bigger radius, which is scary in itself, but it's those new attacks that are incredible and very scary, such as maybe the double hand slam, which explodes on impact in very deadly fashion. There's that giant bubble shot where Mizu dashes away, gathers up bubbles at range, forming a big large one, and then they burst it, which sends out many all at once, flying insanely quickly right at your exact location. Again, terrifying and awesome. Thirdly, there's also the charged up spinning leap, which often follows bubble shots themselves on the normal fight. Upon landing though, it's that familiar spin, but it winds up to shoot out more of that explosive goop, which will slide in 3 different directions around Mizu. It seemed to me while transformed as well, the bubbles were bigger and were being sent out more aggressively. Fired like a Gatling gun at range, just channeling into me. It's terrifying. Finally though, most importantly, what I'll call the true super attack. This insane fire-based spirit bomb. Powering up and sending out this massive blue bubble, Mizu will surprisingly kind of leave it to hang in the air, moving around and attacking you while it's up there. But before long, Mizu will begin to spin in a blue whirlwind, trying to pull you in, then leaping up into the bubble to transform it into this orange ball of death. That will slam down into the ground in a supernova-style explosion. You'll want to Superman dive, I imagine, which is really cool. To say the least, there's a lot to keep track of here, so I reckon it's a good idea to get him out of that powered up state as soon as possible. On that note, you probably want to know what its weaknesses actually are. As you can see, it is of course a monster weak to ice, but also thunder and water beyond that. The weakest spots to these elements are the frontal claws left and right, and thunder only does a tiny bit less damage, which is interesting. I do wonder though, if when powered up, those two fiery spots you need to focus on the head or the tail, I wonder if they take extra element damage. It really felt like I was doing a lot of extra ice damage during that time. But now we spoke about the fight, let's talk about the rewards, the equipment you get from that. First up, the two new decorations. We have Chain Jewel 2 and Mighty Jewel +4. Chain Jewel 2 gives you what was Chain Crit, now renamed to Burst in this update. One level of Burst for a 2 slot is really good. This is going to free up a lot of potential in our builds. It's very exciting. On the other hand, the Mighty Jewel +4 gives you 2 maximum might. It's fine, it's nice. Certain players will benefit from that, but not major, I don't think. Then we have the new armor set, the Omyo armor set, which looks wonderful. I even have the weapons to match. I think it actually might be exactly the same as the Master Rank version, but of course different colored in the superior blue color. These are the skills we can get on the full set. We have Adrenaline Rush, increasing your attack power after a successful evade. Evade Extender to go with that. We have Weakness Exploit level 3, Stamina Surge level 3, Agitator 5, Flinch Free 3, and 2 on Offensive Guard. But most importantly, most interestingly, is of course Embolden, the new skill. When active, you're going to get a chunk of defense, and it will greatly prolong dodging invincibility and greatly lowers impact when guarding, which is really interesting. Of course, this is in combination with something like Adrenaline Rush. It's kind of trying to get you to evade, to get power, to get defense. Obviously, the main aspect of this, though, is the fact that it says when targeted by a monster, that monster becomes more likely to become enraged, but your own defense is increased. Of course, that works really well with Agitator, increasing your power when the monster is enraged. It kind of reminds me a little bit of World, or rather Iceborne, when you would intentionally slap the monster's face with the clutch claw to get it enraged to benefit from Agitator sooner. Certainly interesting. I think it's going to lead to a unique playstyle. As far as the decoration slots for the set go, they're pretty damn good. 4 and a 1-1 on the helmet. We got 3-2-1 on the chest, 2-2-2 on the gloves, 2-2-1 on the waist, and a 4 slot on the boots. Lastly, we have the weapons, which are a recoloring of the original with this nice blue design. I'm obviously using it as my layered already because I love these. But of course, they're fire weapons with a bit of affinity, incredible slots, but a very small rampage slot. Thankfully, we can now augment since update 1 to increase the size of a rampage slot, so it could be more viable. But personally, as a dual blaze user, I'm not too sure about this one. Its fire is pretty damn low. Still, these are incredibly nice looking weapons, and it's very nice to have this blue version because it's my favorite color. But there you have it. That is my finished overview of Violet Mizu. What do you guys think of the fight? Obviously, I really like it. But yeah, I'm really happy to see this more intense style of hunts, and I want more of this in the future updates. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more Sunbreak content like this, drop a like on the video, but we do plan to cover the update in full. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.